What's happening, guys? Welcome back, Howlers here. Welcome to my first ever game review. And the game we're going to be reviewing is one I've just finished, and it's Watchdogs 2. Is it better than the original? Let's find out. Okay, so here we are with Watch Dogs 2. And the first thing everyone is going to think, how does it compare to the first Watch Dogs? And everyone knows the first Watch Dogs was a massive disappointment in every aspect that a disappointment can be. It sucked visually, the gameplay sucked, the cars sucked in it, the story sucked in it. It just sucked. And you can now pick up the first Watch Dogs for under a tenner, even on PS4 and Xbox One. It was just that bad. So here we have Watch Dogs 2, just from the beginning. You look around, this is just one of the downtown streets in San Francisco. This looks like a really, really nice game. And it did not disappoint at all. When you drive around San Francisco and you're walking about the landscapes, the landmarks in it, it is a really, really nice looking game throughout it. I've played this through to completion now, and I was very impressed the whole way through the game. Now, for me, one of the big things that really, really sucked with the last one were the cars. And even though my driving is appalling, the cars were hugely improved with this game. I mean, hugely improved with this game. The handling, be it if you're in a random sedan to a sports car or a motorbike, they're really, really good and they're so easy to control. Now, I did think that during playing the game, there's not that many cars, and the car AI seemed to be really far apart. And what I mean is that you can drive down the center of the street, as you can see what I'm doing here, and you've no risk of hitting into anything apart from just there where I suck at driving. Um, but yeah, it was so improved compared to the last one, and you have the same mechanics in it that, yeah, you can try and steal a car, but then they drive off. Just bad timing. But overall, it was very, very good and a huge, huge improvement compared to the last game. Now, when the last game came out, everything just seemed to look as if it was rushed. Like the final touches just weren't there on the game. Be it the real fine details of the game just weren't there. And as you can see in this video, you have those fine details now. You have the trees, the landscape, even the clouds in the sky. I put the last game on the PlayStation 3, and the detail, just the trees and the clouds and those randomly small details just weren't there. And it was just so blocky and grayscale, whereas this one is so vibrant. And depending on the time of day that you're playing, it just looked so much better compared to the last game. It's just a huge, huge improvement. Now, with some of the story aspect to the game, I felt in the last one that the story just kind of lost me in it. I just wasn't that involved in it. I didn't really care hugely for the characters. Even though you're trying to save the main character's son in it, this one I cared a lot more for them. I think the new characters that were brought in were a vast improvement. They must have spent a lot of time with character development, who those characters were, and their personalities, and how they even looked as well. Especially with the character Wrench, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. He wears a mask for the entire game, and he has his eyes light up with lights in them to show his emotions and to show his personality. And that came across really well. It's a bit of a stupid gimmick, but it really worked for this game. It really had the same tone as the game, who these people were and who Wrench was as a character. For the main character, Marcus here, his story was really well done, I thought, because it wasn't just set for, okay, I'm going out to try and save my son and okay, I find that there's people chasing me now. He is really actually going against CTOS and Bloom, and I don't know, I just felt a lot more connected to his character, who he was, his backstory, and how he interacted with the other people in DedSec and how he got along with them and what happened to him throughout the game. I'm trying not to spoil this for people as well, so I definitely do recommend go out and play this game. If you've played the first one, don't be don't have that mindset of, oh, the first one sucked, this is gonna suck. It definitely doesn't. It really, really doesn't. I would really recommend to go out and play this game. Now, the one thing that people always try to bring up with Watchdogs is that it's just a rip-off of GTA. And I can totally see where people are coming from with that opinion. And to an extent, there are many arguments for and against that opinion. But to me, I do still think it's very separate from GTA. And GTA is its own thing, and it's its own game, and it has its own franchise and its own following. And yes, there are a lot of similarities that cannot be denied at all. But as you're going to see here, the gameplay and the story and the missions are totally separate. They're two completely separate games in that respect. And Watch Dogs is all about hacking and going in, disrupting communications, cell phones, you name it. And this really, really takes part of that. The hacking element of this game was really improved with the sequel here. And the toys that you get with this one as well, I thought were so good. With Marcus, you get the RC drone, which you can see here, and you get the RC hopper, which is kind of like a remote control car. And the drone here, as you can see, is so good for going in, finding the enemies, scouting your location, finding all those accessible points, where you need to get to, who's there, how many people you need to avoid, and so on. And you have the same full functionality with the drone as you would if Marcos was in right in the middle of this area. A very, very useful tool. Very, very useful indeed. And with each part of the game, I just loved this. I absolutely loved this. I thought it was invaluable to playing the game. Everyone gets those types of games where you just do the same thing over and over and over again with each mission. And yeah, I kind of have to admit that, yeah, I use the drone all the time. Because it is so handy. Yeah, maybe it makes the game a bit too easy, but each their own. That's how I played the game, and I enjoyed it still. Okay, so with some of the aspects of the game that could have been improved, I haven't played the multiplayer part of this game massively. I'm not a huge multiplayer. I don't play massively online, but some of the parts that I have played, they were good. They were enjoyable. It didn't automatically grab my attention in any way, shape, or form. But that's maybe just me. They don't really gear to my style of gaming or what I'm into, and that's fair enough. But what I did play, I did enjoy. It was fun. Will I go back and do all the multiplayer missions? I just don't know. Um, Maybe, I don't know. The one issue that it did crash on me quite a bit. Now, I did see that Ubisoft were aware of this glitch, that it was crashing quite a lot for players, and they did release a patch for it, I think 2 days ago. And since that patch, it hasn't glitched on me. I'm still playing it at the minute. So far, so good. So hopefully that has been completely cleared up. So that should be fine now. Other than that, there were no real kind of issues with it. I didn't have any issues with the game or loading or anything like that. Um, Being a Ubisoft game, you have your rewards and your perks for playing in the game, and everybody knows the Ubisoft servers are constantly down and they're hard to get into, to say the least. but that's just Ubisoft. You play Ubisoft game, you know that's gonna happen. So I don't really take that into consideration when I'm reviewing a game, be it by Ubisoft or not. The one thing I will say about the game though is I found it quite short. Now, I don't know my overall playtime. The game doesn't tell you how long you've physically been playing it for. I haven't really seen it on my PlayStation yet, but I felt it was pretty short. I probably played it for 4 days, give or take, on and off. I didn't do any 24-hour long binges on it or anything, but I don't know. I got to the very last mission, and the warning comes up saying this is your last mission, and I was just quite surprised that this was the last mission. I was like, oh, okay, uh, right. I don't know. It just felt quite short. I felt they could have actually done a lot more with it, with the story, and I've completed all the side missions are completed bar one. I think they're more just gearing towards the multiplayer aspect of it, which I've mentioned. So I don't know. So overall opinion of Watch Dogs 2, a very very strong 7.5 out of 10. Couldn't give it the 8 just because I felt it was a little bit too short, but overall a vast improvement on the original Watch Dogs. A real surprise for me. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and like I've said, I would definitely recommend it to anyone out there who likes your third person role playing game, who likes the hacking scene, and anyone who likes anything to do with like driving cars, shootouts, and computer technology, because it's got it all there. It's really good, and I am going to make a bit of a faux pas. If you like the GTA series, yeah, I'm going to recommend Watch Dogs as well, because yes, I've said it earlier on in this video, yeah, there's similarities to it, but they're both very good games in their own right, so there you have it. I said it, get over it. It's done. Done deal. For anyone out there who wants a good game, yeah, Watch Dogs 2. Can't go wrong.